and I trust every word of it. I know for a fact that he's a good person. He got called for a ticket to go to a room to fix a TV. 3 women are in the room. They're doing their own thing. And he's like, okay, da-da-da. He grabs the nightstand and pulls it back to kind of like look behind the TV. And he notices a $100 bill that's like crumpled up, fully dusty. And he's like, oh, this is probably left here from patrons from before. So he grabs it and puts it in his pocket with the intention of taking it to the lobby to like turn it into the lost and found. And then one of the women goes, hey, what did you do? And he goes, I just grabbed this. I took this. And it was money, $100. Guests that were in the room were like, hey, that's ours. You're stealing from us. And they went from like 0 to 100 super quickly. It's very obvious that the money like wasn't theirs because it was so tucked away. He was like, okay, here. Gives it to him, and they like kick him out. And in his mind, he's like, those women just like stole $100. I know it wasn't theirs. And so he goes on with his day, but he gets called into the manager's office the next day. Apparently the women complained about him stealing, and he's like, no. And he tells the story exactly what I just told you. He tells his manager. They put him on like a leave of absence for 2 weeks, and he's all pissed because he's like, this is not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. My mom's consoling him. It's like, it's fine. It'll be okay. You'll go to work soon. I don't care about bleeping because I want to shit talk the company, but he worked at Marriott, the hotel chain. Marriott does this thing where after 25 years, if you work there, then you get free hotels for life. And so that was his only goal. I'm going to stick with this company, be here for a long time, I'm going to retire, and then I'm going to live out the rest of however many years I have left. And he was stoked to get there. Since day one of working there, he was just counting down to the days till retirement. 2 weeks pass, and he gets a call from work, and they fire him over the phone after he had been there for 24 years. He was a year away from being there for 25. And they fire him over the phone, and he took his life almost immediately after. I don't know how he did it. I didn't really ask, but that is how he passed. Which is really unfortunate. My mom wasn't home at the time, so like she couldn't be there. I don't like thinking about what was going through his head. But I know it was an act of desperation, I guess. I don't think my dad was depressed or had depression. Maybe an event like that could have triggered a suicide, but no, I just think it was he didn't want to figure out life. Because that was his only life. That was like his entire adulthood, for the most part, was working for this company, slogging away, and then they can him in a fucking instant. He was a perfect employee, too. It was just, you get to 62 after breaking your back, support a family, and support yourself, and then you're like, I have to keep going? Ugh, no. I think that's what was going through his head. It was like an hour until I was off work, and then I just, see my phone. It's my sister calling a couple times, then sending a text that says, please call me. But then finally I get off work, and she texts me, you need to call me right now. And she says, hey, are you alone? I said, no, I'm on the bus right now. And she says, okay, call me when you're alone. Get home, and I call her. I can tell she's choking up and like has something to say. She gets kind of quiet, and I go, what's up? And she just says, like, very, very flatly, Dad's gone. And that's how I found out. We didn't know the whole drive down how he had passed. My mom told us the story, the full story. She did like a bunch of work to try and talk to lawyers and whatnot about whether or not it was like age discrimination, if they were just firing somebody that was like nearing retirement and they didn't want to deal with that, or if it was, like wrongful termination. I'm really, really angry about it, but I just like don't have the means to fight that, and none of us did. Marriott has a fuck ton of lawyers. They could run us into the ground with fees and whatnot. So like just nothing came of it. I know my mom settled out of court, but it wasn't. I'm even pissed off about that because it's just like no fucking justice from it. Nothing. It's just he's gone, and then that's it. Nothing changed at all, other than a bunch of people are sad. I wish I could have done something, but I don't know. He didn't even steal it. Like, that's the worst fucking part. What the hell? That's a good dinner. Really frustrating. I remember being so angry from how fucking pointless it all was. And now I don't get to joke with my dad. Sucks. I miss him a lot. Best memory is a recent one. It was the last time that I saw him, right as I got the Hopkins job, my hospital job. I've been kind of aimless for the last 10 years, figuring out what do I want to do with life and whatnot. But then I got this job and was just like fucking elated. I was so happy. I finally figured out what I want to do, and I've just been very happy since then. Went down over the summer 2021. It was July. I was like, I'm gonna say Clarky. Clarky, I've seen that you've kind of been struggling in adulthood to like figure out what to do and fucking pay rent and whatnot. I just got to tell you, like I felt so helpless, and like all I want to do is just figure out the answer and provide help to you so that you can be on your own 2 feet. And now that you've gotten this job, it's made me feel so good to see how happy you are and finally taking care of yourself, and that was super, super awesome to hear. I'm very glad that was a memory that we shared together the last time that I saw him. It was a good one. I know he wanted to be there just like in general, but we grew up not poor, but like I grew up in a trailer, and then from there we moved to a farm that we rented. He worked really, really hard to give my family a living. It was just hard. They worked a ton, and you've got these kids that are like pining for you, right? And then you just can't give them the time. That led to a lot of exploring the barn and the silo. Seeing him at all of my like track meets and baseball games, I think he really went out of his way to make sure to show up to all of them, just because he knew how much that meant to me. He taught me how to shave. That was a good one. That was a very funny experience. We never had it was the first time like we had done like a typical father-son thing. We never had the talk. We never, I don't know, talked about things that were like really true to life. We didn't talk about religion. We didn't talk. We were just very goofy, like surface level people. And I was fine with this. I'm glad to have had that, but very, very few like deep conversations. I remember being like, all right, well, I need to learn how to shave. This is, I know, a typical like very father-son close thing for people to do, and he recognized that as well, and like, oh man, we never do stuff like that. Sitting there like learning from him how to shave, and then as soon as I like figured out the whole process, I just wanted him to leave. I was like, no, get out of here. All right, we're too close. And he was like, all right. And then I was in the bathroom for like 2 hours getting every single hair. He was like, hey, you all right in there? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine, leave me alone. I don't know. It was very goofy in my mind. Without a doubt in my mind, I am the culmination of my dad's personality and traits. I am my father's son, wholeheartedly. My personality, the jokes that I make, the things that I'm interested in, I'm extremely grateful for that. He was the best person. He was so good, kind to people. He cared about everyone. He worked hard for the people that, were close to him. My desire to leave this world better than when I got here is from him. I know that for a fact. There was a coworker that like didn't speak very much English. He was like teaching him English slowly but surely. He'd like write a word for this guy to take home and kind of learn. While they were working, they would practice English. And this guy told me, that he was so thankful. And I was like, yep, that sounds like my dad. Does not surprise me at all for him to be thoughtful in that way. He had typical dad jokes at like restaurants and whatnot. I know he did that because he just wants to make people laugh. A person smiling is better than anything. He'd finish the plate and go, can I get a box? Like, Dad, stop, that's embarrassing. I stayed really positive and just kept focusing on the really, really good aspects of my relationship with him and our last moments together, like I told you about. I am so incredibly thankful that he was in my life. I just really, 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 really zeroed in on thinking about the good stuff. Our family got disjointed as a result. I haven't talked to my sister in a year and a half. Her and my mom had like a really big falling out. My mom called me crying. My sister complained a lot about, hey, growing up kind of sucked. It's a much more adult to adult relationship between me and my mom. She just like is not good with kids, not a good guardian, I guess. A lot of stuff I had to learn on my own. She always went to yelling first, and that just, I don't know, made me resent her a lot. I just don't think they were ready to be parents, and I wish they would have had kids at a time when they could have like really, really supported them. I'm not one of those people to man all my problems, parents. Like I am in control of my life 100%. But I mean, you can't. Well, I don't want to say you can't, but woulda, shoulda, couldas for all that stuff. And my sister was like very pointed about it. It was like, it's your fault, Mom. You did this and you did this. And Clarky feels the exact same way. I was like, what the fuck? Don't throw me under the bus. I was so annoyed. I was like, why would you do that? Like, yes, it's all true, but like, my mom called me crying, like asking me, like, do you feel this way? And I was like, I don't want to fucking talk about that. I see my mom like once a year, and she tries to get into deeper conversations of like, you know, if only your dad were here. And no, Mom, stop, like, please. Sister and Mom had that falling out, like really, really big argument. And then my sister just like left the house and turned her phone off, changed her number, everything. It was really, really big. And then she tried texting me one time. My sister just didn't handle my dad dying very well. I mean, she was just like kind of an asshole. Understandably, like, I know it's a fuck ton to deal with, but she just wasn't nice. I'm not going to try to extend and maintain that relationship. One, if she doesn't want it. Two, oops. Oh, did I learn how to twist? Oh, it's on her. She's got to apologize for, like, being a D-bag. I don't know what else to say. I played a shit ton of Street Fighter 2 with my dad, actually. He played as M. Bison, and then I would play as Dalim, I think, with the stretchy arms. I have memories of him in my life, and I'm so glad that I have those memories. He was such an amazing fucking person, and I know not many people think about him now. I hope people that he was in people's lives, I hope they think about him, but I don't know. I really wanted to do this because I want my dad to, like, be immortalized in some way, you know? I want him to exist out in the world more. And I love thinking about it, I love talking about him, and that's, you know, kind of why I wanted to do this, and I really appreciate you letting me. It's very cathartic.
If you could tell everybody in the world one thing, what would it be?
It would be, let people take care of you. I think that is a crucial thing that a lot of people don't do. They don't let friends into their lives, or they don't let people take care of them for whatever fear of just like being a burden. Get rid of those feelings. People want to be nice to you. I truly think like the human condition is to be a kind person, and people want to do that for you too. So let them, and I guarantee your life will be better. Wholeheartedly.